You work 60 hours a week. You show up early, you stay late. You say yes when others say no. You sacrifice time, energy, even your health for the job, for the team, for the promise of someday. And yet, you're stuck watching someone else rise faster. Someone who talks more than they work, who knows the right people, who breaks rules but lives the life you thought you'd earned. You ask yourself, what did I do wrong? But maybe that's not the right question. Maybe the real question is, what lie have I been told? From childhood, we were taught that hard work equals success, that effort guarantees reward. But what if that formula was never real? Nietzsche, the German philosopher who shattered illusions, called this the trap of moral labor, the belief that sacrifice, obedience, and humility are noble. He warned that this kind of morality doesn't free you, it enslaves you. Because in a world ruled by power, morality often becomes a tool to control those who have none. You were told to keep your head down, to stay good, to be patient. But life isn't fair. Life is competitive, political, and strategic. The system doesn't reward virtue, it rewards value. Not the value you create, but the value you control. That's why a nurse working 12 hours earns less than an influencer filming a get-rich video. That's why a worker who breaks their back retires with barely enough, while someone who manipulates markets walks away with millions. It's not your fault. You believed a story written to keep you obedient, to keep you working, while others rewrite the rules. Nietzsche didn't tell you to stop working. He told you to stop worshiping work as a form of morality. He called this mindset slave morality, born not from power, but from fear. It teaches that humility is superior to strength, that obedience is noble, that suffering is sacred. But this moral code wasn't built to empower you, it was built to pacify you. Think about it. The people who keep the world running, nurses, drivers, janitors, builders, are also the ones struggling to survive. Meanwhile, those who control capital, influence, and perception, they rise highest, because the system rewards scale and leverage, not effort. The nurse can treat one patient at a time. The investor can move billions with one click. And that's the game. We were conditioned to see suffering as noble, endurance as honorable. We praise those who sacrifice quietly, but praise doesn't pay the bills. While the working class learns to obey, the powerful learn to strategize, not to serve, but to dominate. So ask yourself, if moral labor is so sacred, why doesn't it come with power? Why are the most essential workers also the most replaceable? Because the system was never designed to liberate you. It was designed to keep you hoping, waiting, believing. The promise of someday is the most effective chain ever forged. Psychologists call this the just world fallacy, the comforting but false belief that the world is fair, that good things happen to good people. It helps us make sense of pain, but it's not true. And clinging to it keeps you trapped. While you stay late fixing problems you didn't cause, someone else is learning how to play the game, building alliances, studying leverage, mastering perception. You believe you're being moral. They're being strategic. And in this world, strategy wins. Nietzsche's lesson wasn't to become cruel, it was to become conscious, to stop confusing obedience with virtue, to stop waiting for the system to notice your worth and start creating your own. He called this evolution the rise of the Übermensch, the overman, not a tyrant, but a creator, someone who defines their own meaning, writes their own rules, and stops asking for permission to live with purpose. The overman doesn't wait to be promoted. He builds impact on his own terms. He understands power, not as domination, but as authorship. Power to choose, to build, to walk away. You've seen these people. the entrepreneur who left a safe job to build something new, the creator who turned rejection into innovation, the builder who stopped waiting and started acting. What separates them isn't luck, it's mindset. They stopped asking, when will they see my worth, and started asking, why am I giving them that power? That shift, from waiting to creating, from submitting to owning, that's the path Nietzsche pointed to. That's how you step out of the cage of moral labor. But freedom comes at a price. You must give up the need to be seen as good. You must be willing to disappoint those who benefit from your silence. You must be willing to stand alone while you build a life on your own terms. This isn't selfishness. It's sovereignty. It's maturity. Because kindness without awareness is not virtue. It's obedience. True morality isn't submission. It's strength, guided by consciousness. Strategic kindness means knowing when to help and when to walk away, when to say yes and when to say no. Not every job deserves your loyalty. Not every leader deserves your trust. Not every opportunity deserves your time. Power isn't evil. It's the will to become more. More than a servant, more than a cog, more than just a good worker. So no, don't abandon your principles, but do learn the rules of power. Understand leverage, recognize when you're being used and when you're being valued. Because the future doesn't belong to the obedient. It belongs to the clear, the conscious, those who merge principle with power, empathy with edge. If you grew up believing that hard work is enough, it's time to wake up. Hard work matters, but without power, without ownership, without strategy, it keeps you stuck. The real human doesn't just labor. He studies the system. He learns it, masters it, and when it no longer serves him, he writes new rules. That's the difference between surviving and leading, between being a cog in someone else's machine and becoming the architect of your own future. Because in the end, the world doesn't reward the most obedient. It rewards those brave enough to stop waiting and start creating.